Monday night was the Play for K game, and Wolfpack women's basketball did exactly that, picking up a massive win over Louisville.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's sponsor is FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers can join today and get $200 back in bonus bets if you place a first bet of $5 or more, and that thing wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Happy Tuesday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Monday evening in Reynolds Coliseum was the annual Play for K game, and boy, did the women's Wolfpack do exactly that. They knocked off Louisville by a score of 77-67, a double-digit win in the old barn. Just like we had discussed, NC State needs to get off to a quick start, and they lit it up in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Isaiah James, that's
on a
boy,
tear.
I tell you, her nickname is apparently Zaza, and I'll tell you what, it must have felt like a great high experiencing what an amazing outing she put on there. Because I mean, she was absolutely on fire to start this thing off, and she also came up with timely buckets down the stretch. Yeah. When the Wolfpack offense seemed to stagnate a little bit. And to be honest here, I know I talk a lot about, hey, the women's team has those moments where they stagnate for no reason, where like they just can't seem to find a bucket for no reason. However, we talked about in the last episode the defensive prowess that Jeff Walz has, and he is, objectively speaking, regardless of personnel, he has rolled this thing out to where they're going to have a top defense every year. No Haley Van Lith, no problem. All the things, and yet Westmore and Company said, hey, I know that I know that you're used to winning, but brother, you're coming to the old barn. And now he's making Jeff Walz look like Paul Wall, because that brother's sitting sideways every time he sees Wes on the other sideline there. So, absolutely great game by our women. What a win, what a time. And you can say what you want about them kind of fade down the stretch a little bit, but a double-digit win against a ranked opponent who is at the top of the conference, especially in this ACC, where we're looking at least 7 teams that are going to make the tournament, at least. That's a great win.
You won't hear any complaints from me. That is a fantastic win. Louisville is a strong team, as they are nearly every single year. Kenton talked about the defense that they play. They really hone in on taking the offense away from a squad. And we came out of the gates and absolutely put it on them. And especially when you hold Louisville to just 8 points in the second quarter, that helps your case as well. But out of the gate, it just felt like everything NC State was putting up, that thing was going in. Shooting 48.6% in the first half is always going to do you a solid. But we talked about the importance of getting out and getting up early, because this Louisville team is deep. They will make you run. They're going to make you work for every bucket that you score. And so it's much easier to play Louisville when you're already out ahead, as opposed to trying to play catch up if they get you from behind later on in this game, which we saw happen to a certain degree. I thought NC State kind of played with their food a little bit, but that's a testament to how good Louisville is. Credit to Louisville for clawing back in that game, because NC State came out on absolute fire going into half with a double-digit lead. Louisville very easily could have faded out from that one, but they fought back and they made it interesting. At least I believe they shrunk the lead all the way down to 6 at one point late in the second half, but NC State hit enough shots to ultimately pull away with this one.
Yeah, and the thing is, with the Jeff Walz coach team, regardless of how hot you come out, regardless of how bad you whip the wheels off them for a period of time, they will adjust. They will find ways to make it more difficult on you. They will find ways to deny whoever is hot. Louisville, the best thing about their defense is they run multiple defenses at a very high level. NC State, however, was able to win this game because they had counters for it. We have Westmore. You know what I mean? Like it's like that moment where in Avengers where they were like, oh, you have an army, well, we have a Hulk. And that's just, that's the reality of what that thing is there. But very seriously, when Isaiah James is shooting like this,
oh yeah,
there's not a team in the country. And I mean that with all due respect. I mean that with all the niceties and all the things. When Isaiah James is shooting like that, there's not a team. There's not one that can hold a torch to NC State. Not only was Isaiah James shooting extremely well, but you look at the rest of the team coming along and still doing their thing. Again, you're going to be really, really pressed to see a team that can stop Isaiah James giving you 28, Madison Hayes going 4 of 8 from deep. People don't understand how valuable the spacing that she and Mimi Collins provide is to this team. The ball movement is there, but also players are just hitting shots. And that is extremely important. Madison Hayes did that well in this game. Isaiah James did that well in this game. And I'll tell you what, for all of the struggles that, at times we see from Sinai Rivers offensively, she always brings it defensively, number one. Number two, she never lets any shooting struggles get to her head and mess with her game to where I can no longer positively affect the game because my shot's not falling. She has some stat lines that are just, they're very, they're unique. They're one of one because it's like, oh no, she's missing shots and she's turning the ball over. She's also going to compete at a high level defensively. She's going to compete on the glass. She's going to be good from the line. You take the good with the bad because the good far outweighs the bad.
I think I've mentioned this on here before, but Sinai Rivers is like the queen of very bizarre stat lines. And it was another one on Monday night. She finished with 7 points on 0% shooting. All 7 of her points came from the free throw line. I believe she also finished with 5 boards and 5 assists as well, adding into, I think it was a couple steals and a couple blocks defensively. Kenton mentions this a lot. Sinai Rivers is probably the best example of how you can affect a game when you can't contribute at a high level offensively all the time. Sinai Rivers is constantly affecting the game, whether it's distributing to others or just completely clamping down the other team's best player or defensively. She's always there. And of course, the high energy and the athleticism she has, she can't be really matched. If she wants it, she will go get it because she is that type of athlete. So it was a spectacular effort across the board. All things considered. Madison Hayes actually had a double-double. She had 12 points and 10 boards in this one. If NC State is going to hit the 3 ball, they're going to be hard to beat regardless of who you are. If they're going to shoot at a 47% clip, it's going to be tough sailing for whoever it is, whether it's UConn or South Carolina or Louisville on Monday night. When they're clicking on all cylinders, look out because they can absolutely run with anyone in the country.
There is not a single time that NC State women's basketball has shot in 35% or higher from deep and lost a ball game this year. You think that's a coinky dink? I don't. What do we say of coincidences? The universe is rarely ever so lazy. The reality is this team is one that they hang their hat on defense and winning as a group. But when that 3 ball is falling, man.
And if you thought the last 2 wins for women's basketball were a big deal, they have perhaps the biggest game yet. Thursday night in Reynolds, now number 1 in the conference, Virginia Tech visits us in Raleigh. We owe them a little something from when we saw them up in Blacksburg about a month ago. We're now tied actually for second place with Louisville. So we got number 1 in the ACC versus number 2 in the ACC on our home court. Get your popcorn ready. Up next, we're talking about our newest transfer commit for football, a little SEC action moving over to NC State after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first sponsor of the day is FanDuel. Happy Super Bowl anticipation week to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, and then placing some Super Bowl bets. FanDuel has so many different ways for you to end this football season with a W or 2 or 3, maybe 4, 5, 6. It's totally up to you. Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58 between the Niners and Chiefs, but FanDuel also has bets for anytime touchdown scorers, over-unders on receptions, rushing yards, receiving yards, you name it, they got it. How many points will be scored, over-unders in totality, and so much more. New customers can join today and get $200 back in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to make every moment more. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Middle portion of our Tuesday show. Now time to talk about our newest football transfer commit. That is Donovan Kaufman, a safety from Auburn, joining us in Raleigh for, I believe, his final year of eligibility. This is now his third stop, began his college career at Vanderbilt before playing the last 3 years with the Auburn Tigers, and he fills a major need in this NC State secondary.
Yeah, we talked about the safety depth, and we talked about how much it was needed last year. You know, this is very similar to how we've gotten a sort of stable of quarterbacks rolling here, where it's like, hey, we're not just counting on one guy. You know, we're always going to have multiple guys ready to go. Same thing for safety. Football is a violent game. You need multiple guys who can get it done. And Donovan Kaufman is a guy that comes in with a lot of experience. He's made a lot of plays, but now he wants to see what that winning feels like. He wants to see. I know that as an NC State fan, it feels kind of weird to say that, but think about this. The young man went from Vanderbilt to Auburn. What have those two teams won recently? No, don't get me wrong. Donovan Kaufman is a hell of a ball player. He can do a little bit of everything as a safety, and I'm interested to see how Gibson is going to use him. I'm excited to have him. It's so interesting the way that this team is using the portal, because year after year, it feels like you're pushing all your chips to the middle of the table saying like, I'm giving everything for a championship. But the reality of college football is you can push the chips to the middle again the next year.
Absolutely.
It's an unlimited money hack here. This is a great time to be in Raleigh. And you know, Mr. Kaufman was aware of that. I'm glad he's running with the pack. I'm ready to see him in the red and white.
Yeah, this is a big-time get. I mean, we talked about the significant need for NC State looking at the secondary out of the transfer portal. And, of course, Devin Boykin, who injured himself before our bowl game with an ACL injury, you know, looking at timelines here, he might not be able to be a full go by the time the fall season rolls around. So NC State absolutely had to go out and get somebody to fill this potential void. And I think Kaufman's a very suitable get here. Of course, not exactly hard-hitting analysis, but anytime you can pick up a player that spent 4 years in the SEC, yeah, let's get him over here with Tony Gibson's wing, see what he can do with him. Absolutely.
Let's see what we can do.
Chance every single time.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. You know, let's kick the old proverbial tires, if you will. See what's going on there.
Yeah. NC State, of course, returning Boykin, but they also return Bishop Fitzgerald and Sean Brown. We've heard plenty of whispers that Sean Brown could potentially see some time at linebacker. Bringing in Donovan Kaufman would allow a potential move such as that to happen. If we're already starting thin at the safety position, then, of course, you have to keep Sean Brown there and then maybe pursue another linebacker in the portal, which might still happen. But this is a very good depth piece for NC State to pick up at this point in the cycle. And he's a proven commodity as well. He has plenty of experience at Auburn, didn't play so much at Vanderbilt, but he's played a significant amount of time at Auburn. Over the course of his career, he has 124 tackles, 6 forced fumbles, 2 sacks, and 2 picks. He's been effective in doing so as well, but I'm very content with this pickup. Can't wait to see what Tony Gibson can do with him.
You know, our safety room is thin, but I'm telling you, if we're talking about another guy out of Alabama, I've talked about him before, but that Ronnie Royal, I'm excited. I'm geeked up about him. I'm geeked up about Kaufman, of course, as well, but I think with the way that our safety depth is working out, Kaufman is a good piece that Ronnie can learn from, get better and all that good stuff. I've talked to some folks down there because I got some family in the area and all that good stuff. And I reached out to some contacts down there. And the word on the street is if Ronnie was 2-3 inches taller, he would have been everybody's All-American, would have, went wherever he wanted to go and all that. And I looked at his offer sheet and I'm like, wait, he got these offers at 5'9.5", 5'10". This is oh boy. He's a special kid. And again, we talked about Cisse learning from Aiden White. We talked about Cade Fordham and Devon Betty learning from Wilson and Thomas and Moore. And now we're talking about a Ronnie Royal learning from Donovan Kaufman.
There's a whole lot of experience now kind of brought into the back end of that defense. So this is a key piece, and I'm sure NC State is also not done adding key pieces. Spring portal is still approaching here in the next couple months. It wouldn't surprise me to see a couple more additions before we eventually close our doors and we officially lock in for the 2024 season. But nonetheless, Donovan Kaufman commits to NC State. Big-time pickup for a big-time need. Can't wait to have him.
Saw some unfortunate departures going to places that just baffle the mind. I wish him all the best over there, but I'm lying. I don't wish you the best. I can't say I wish anybody in baby blue the best. The reality is we're excited to have you, Donovan. We would love to have you and see exactly who and what you are. I'm going to watch the film on this young man, though, and see exactly who NC State is getting in Donovan Kaufman. Who knows? We may even bring you a Locked On Look of the Week. Maybe.
It's been a minute.
We might have to warm up the old film machine to talk about who this young man is as safety.
Up next, we'll be talking a whole lot of nothing or a whole lot of something to round out our Tuesday show after a quick word from our sponsors. Our second sponsor of the day is eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience, that's what brings home the winning trophy. But it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers to roof racks, exhaust kits, and LED headlights, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. That's because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Last couple minutes here on Tuesday. It's now time for a whole lot of nothing, or a whole lot of something. 3 topics. We're going to tell you how we feel about it. First one here. Boston College head coach Jeff Hafley is now leaving for the NFL and cited his reasoning is because of the new nature of college football with NIL and the portal. He said it's not exactly coaching football anymore. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
Whole lot of nothing. This is a loser leaving a place before he gets fired. This is like when you feel like your girlfriend's about to break up with you and you preemptively break up with her so that you can say, I broke up with you. Man, listen, the game is still the game. Yes, there are new aspects to manage and all that good stuff. But what makes you think the NFL is all about football and nothing else? Mm-hmm. What are you going to say when Rashawn Gary holds out to get a new contract? This is just hypothetical, not saying that he actually will or anything like that. I'm pretty sure they already got him re-signed, but you get the point. What happens then, Mr. Defensive Coordinator? What happens when Jair Alexander does more of the tomfoolery that he's become known for at this point? What happens when Mr. Simone Biles does more Mr. Simone Biles things? That's off the field stuff. That can be real distracting. That's just the reality that we're looking at here. I'm sorry to tell you, this isn't something that I'm looking at like, Doran's next. He's going to leave next. A whole lot of nothing. A loser quitting. Shocked. Surprise.
I'm also going a whole lot of nothing. I think there's something to be said, though. The landscape of college football, it has changed. There are more responsibilities. But Kenton, I think you hit the nail on the head here. The game is still the game. Coaching is still coaching. Of course, yes, there are more external factors in terms of the portal and NIL and re-recruiting your own players. But if you can't deal with it, then yeah, maybe this is not the place for you. If you can't adapt to the times, then sure, run along and go to where you perceive to be greener pastures. I think you also hit the nail on the head in saying the NFL is not so different, buddy. I mean, there's a whole lot of other external factors and drama. It's that is also going on in the league. So you think you're running off to quote unquote coach more football. We'll see how that goes for you. But have things changed? Yes, absolutely. But the game is still the game. You still have to coach on the field to get that success. So whole lot of nothing, of course, from me. Second one here in the world of men's basketball. The ACC is currently being referred to as potentially a 3-bid league, And NC State is sitting here in 4th place. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
Whole lot of something, because I believe that NC State is why people perceive the ACC to be a 3-bid league. We are the 4th place team right now. Many people would consider us the 5th or 6th best team, but the reality is we are in 4th place. If this team finds a way to get some quality wins, all of a sudden the national perception will not change and flip about the conference, but it does help. It does improve it to say, hey, our 4th best team has got some wins against some good teams. They haven't gotten dog walked every time they played somebody with a pulse. That is a whole lot of something, because if we show up and show out, all of a sudden that 3-bid expands to 4, maybe 5.
I look at this as a whole lot of something because 2 weeks ago, you're starting to wonder if maybe that flatline noise is the one you're going to be hearing, because NC State, they were getting close. There was still a lot of season left at the time, and that's why we said you couldn't quite count them out yet, but that's the way they were trending. Now, a week later, they stood up. I wouldn't say they're throwing punches back yet, but they have stood up off of the mat. They're breathing again. And whether the league is or is not a 3-bid league, I think the ACC is getting a very bad rap. I think there's plenty of good basketball within the league. It's just the perception of the conference as a whole is down right now. I look at this as the opportunity of NC State. There's still a way for them to fight and make it into the big dance. But right now, their focus should be on maintaining a top 4 spot in the ACC tournament. If you can get a double bye, maybe anything can happen in the ACC tournament. Aren't we known for that in the ACC tournament? I think we are. So NC State, they have found a way to start breathing. Still a whole lot of work to do in doing so. But right now, maybe the ACC is a 3-bid league. You could turn it into a 4-bid league. Last one here. NC State women's basketball is still undefeated at home after beating Louisville. Virginia Tech women's basketball, all 4 of their losses are either on the road or neutral. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
Whole lot of something. Wes Moore is the people's champ.
Yes,
this
sir.
man embraces everything it is to be a member of the Wolfpack. He tells the fans, get loud, get rowdy, be classless. He makes fun of people who make fun of us. He uses the jokes that people use against us as a shield. That way nobody can harm you with it. And I'll tell you what, as much as I respect Kenny Brooks as a coach, ACC champ, phenomenal coach, amazing by all accounts, I don't think that they'll get away with Georgia Amore playing left tackle in the old barn. Her kick step was amazing. I got to give her credit. She got depth. She got long arms, blocking multiple players at once. I said, oh, this is impressive. This is Coach Pride. Give her a call. But with that being said, this game in the old barn, I think things shake out a little differently for the Turkeys in this one.
It's a whole lot of something. And we talked about the game on Monday night being a showdown, maybe a clash of titans. Virginia Tech is even a bigger deal than that one. Obviously, in terms of talent, just the current landscape of the conference standings, Virginia Tech's a bigger deal than UNC. And of course, we always get up for UNC. They're the rival. The environment for this Virginia Tech game on Thursday night, it needs to exceed even that. They need to bring it on a whole nother level because the Hokies are number 1 for a reason. They're a very good basketball team, and we should have knocked them off up in Blacksburg. This should be an opportunity to sweep them. It's not, and so we owe them something. Wes Moore and these girls are going to come out hungry on Thursday. The opportunity to place themselves back at the top of this conference is right there on the table. You're playing at home. You have momentum. You just knocked off 2 ranked teams in a row. This is going to be quite the spectacle on Thursday night. This is a whole lot of something.
Wes Moore got big dog status, and it ain't no secret. It is time to go show this conference. It's time to show the nation who you are in this conference, because it seems like, Virginia Tech won their little conference championship. No, it's time to show folks why you are who you are and they're not you. And this is the moment where you can truly assert your will, assert your dominance over the ACC.
One thing we know about Wes Moore is that if there's business to be tended to, he's going to stand on it.
He's going to stand on it.
He's going to show up. He's going to have them ready on Thursday night. And Wolfpack Nation, of course, will be ready behind them. That'll do it for us here on Tuesday. As always, be sure to hit that like button. Drop your comments in the comment box. Tell us what you thought about the women's win over Louisville on Monday night. Tell us the impact that you think Donovan Kaufman can make, the Auburn safety transfer into NC State's secondary this year. If you love the addition, let us know. And let us know what you think about maybe the landscape of college football changing. Do you think that'll potentially affect NC State's coaching staff in the near future? I don't think so. Maybe you do. Let us know in the comments. And as always, hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Tell a friend to hit that subscribe button. We're still inching our way toward 1,500 subscribers. That would be an incredible accomplishment. Couldn't do it without the support of Wolfpack Nation. That'll do it for us here on Tuesday. We will see you all tomorrow. Oh, by the way, Monday's episode was posted in the evening. It is up, so if you see this first, make sure to go back and watch Monday's episode as well. But that will do it for us here on Tuesday. We'll see you all tomorrow. Until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.